Hey everyone, Bess McCarty here with some stories for you today about persistence, about a big story about persistence. This is from the book. I'm going to tell you a story today from the book called Failing Forward by John Maxwell. Incredible book. So persistence, John Maxwell says, maybe this will help. If you've ever felt discouraged by failure after failure after failure and wonder whether you should give up, whether it's bigger than you, whether you don't have what it takes, whether other people have a special something and you don't have it, whether this is a sign, all these failures are a sign that you're not cut out for this, you should give up and do something else. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you should take a job or work for somebody else or something like that. If you ever wonder that, this story may help you today. Hope so. So John says it's just a little bit of difference between success and failure, but that little difference makes a huge difference. And it's Ken Hubbard who said there's no failure except no longer trying. There is no defeat except from within. No really insurmountable barrier save our own inherent weakness of purpose. So the only failure is our own weakness of purpose, not something out there or the economy or our education. None of it says this, or our connections, or our intelligence, or our money, all these reasons that we might look to why we are not succeeding. John says, for the further quote here, because I like this, most unsuccessful people believe that there is a huge gaping chasm that stands between them and success. They suspect deep down they'll never be able to cross that void and get to the other side. But I want to let you in on this secret. He said, maybe you can sense what the secret is through this story. So who's heard of Macy's department store? They're big and they're old running and they're a rich store. They really made it. But not a lot of people know the story of R.H. Macy. What it is he was born in Nantucket at a time when whaling was really big. And so at age 15, he got a job on a whaling ship. This lasted 4 years. And at the end of that time, he had $500 saved up, which back then was a lot of money, right? But when he came back from the ship, he got a job in a printing shop and he realized, this isn't really for me. So 6 months later, he decided to open his own retail trade. He opened a small thread and needle store in Boston. His hopes were high, his work ethic was strong, but the business failed within a year. Next year, Macy tried again. His second store was trading in dry goods, mostly European items bought at an auction. He worked hard, and again he failed. Following year, he decided to team up with his brother-in-law. He worked a lot hard with him, but decided that wasn't for him either. So he and his brother heard about the gold strike in California. They decided to go out west and try their hand at mining. Well, they weren't good at that, but they said, hey, these miners can, we see this opportunity to supply dry goods to the miners. So they set that up, and that worked really well until the gold strike went out and all the miners left. So then they go back east. His next stop was to try a dry goods store in Haverhill, Massachusetts, a town north of Boston. And he said, you know what, I've learned something from each business that I had, and he's starting to formulate a philosophy of trade. And, he did a few things like sell things at a fixed price, while other people haggled and used cash only and advertised heavily, and he wrote his own advertising and all that. Unfortunately, didn't make that business either, so he closed those doors. But he wasn't defeated, though. The following year, he opened another store and sold goods for the lowest price in town. Yet despite his innovations, his clever advertising, and his hard work, that business didn't make it either. After 3 years of struggle, he closed that one and declared bankruptcy. Ouch. So at that point, he decided to get out of retail, and he worked as a stockbroker and then a real estate broker, and he moved to Wisconsin to pursue an opportunity, but that one went bust. But he did, in spite of all those hard times, he did have some success and some money. A friend convinced him to give the retail trade one more try. And, at this point, who wouldn't have blamed him for giving up? He had failed at 5 professions: a whaler, retailer, gold miner, stockbroker, real estate broker. And this would be his 7th attempt at retail. Nobody would have blamed him. I wouldn't have blamed him. You know, at that point, I would have said, hey, maybe I'm not good at this. I keep failing. You know, 6 times I failed. Last time I had to declare bankruptcy. No one would have, you know, anyone would have understood if he would have given up at that point. But he didn't. He tried again. He tried to try his luck in New York, which had a lot more people in it, like 1 million people at that time. So he opened a fancy dry goods store. Guess what? This one worked. After only 12 months, he was grossing $80,000 a year. By the 1870s, the store was averaging over $1 million in sales a year. Now, this was back in the 1870s, so what would that equate to today? And I can't help but think that he applied everything that he learned so far. He couldn't have done that, you know, multi-million-dollar equivalent today of whatever, 100 million or whatever. He couldn't have done that without all of his past experiences that he applied. I believe that was because of all his failures and his experience that he brought to the table after 16 years of trying that he made it. And so he's credited with a bunch of innovations, but Maxwell says, did you catch the secret here? It's persistence. And he says, persistence, you need to find a purpose, eliminate excuses, develop incentives, cultivate determination. Those are John Maxwell's tips. And he ends this particular chapter by saying, take time to write down your dream and the reason you desire to fulfill it. Write down all the things you would be willing to go through to make it happen. Try to think of everything that could possibly go wrong as you pursue it. If you do that, you will be mentally prepared for the problems to come, and that will help you be more persistent. I hope you enjoyed this chapter 14 from Failing Forward with John Maxwell. I like to present cool things as I find them to you. And thank you for commenting on the video. Thank you for sharing it with other people so more people can get benefit from it. That's what I want to do, is change lives going forward, help everyone to have a better life. And this can apply to any business entrepreneurship, especially to network marketers. So go for it, you guys. Keep going. Keep applying the learning to the next step to help yourself have to a better life and others. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And comment below if you like. Thanks. Bye-bye.